Paul, let's talk about prospecting and approaching the right prospects, but more importantly for this bit, getting responses from the people that matter. What are your thoughts on the do's and don'ts around that side of things? Anything to share?
Yeah, well, I think the first thing to say is, I know this sounds a little bit depressing, but look, most prospects don't particularly want to prioritise calls with salespeople. It's just kind of the way that it is. It's borne out in the stats. Unfortunately, lots of buyers say that their interactions with salespeople tend to be a waste of their time. So that's the start point for the prospects. So it's really about putting yourself in the shoes of the prospects and asking yourself, look, if I was them, what would I have to believe to prioritise a call with a salesperson? And I think that's really quite interesting. And, you know, I had a chat with a friend of mine just recently she's a CMO, big tech company, big budget. She's exactly the kind of person, almost regardless of industry, she's the kind of person that lots of salespeople are trying to start conversations with. And I asked her, you know, do you speak to salespeople? And the answer was, well, try not to, not normally that great. But she does speak to salespeople. And I said to her, well, what do you have to believe in order to prioritise a call with a salesperson? And her answer was, she said, I've got to think that they're going to give me a present. And I thought, whoa, hang on a second. What do you mean a present? And she doesn't mean a hamper or a bottle of wine. Of course not. But when I kind of asked her about it, she said, look, I've got to think that I'm going to get something out of this conversation with this salesperson, which is of value to me and my role, regardless of whether I go on to work with them or not, or become a customer. I've got to believe that I'm going to get something out of the conversation itself, which is worth my time. And we talked about it. And some of the things that she referenced was, tell me something I didn't know, which is going to make me look good at my next board meeting, right? Teach me something about how I can do better in my job and make better decisions. Help me kind of understand what other people just like me are doing. These were the kinds of things that she saw as being like a present, you know, a gift that she was going to get out of the conversation, regardless of being a customer. So I think when it comes to getting clients to prioritize talking to us, we should always think to ourselves, what are they going to get out of this conversation in itself, regardless of whether they go on to be a customer? I think that's a really healthy mindset to have.
Love it. Thank you so much, Paul.